Chuck Connors finally talks about Johnny Crawford. Chuck Connors was born Kevin Joseph Aliceus Connors on April 10, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York. He lived a life that would become just as cool and famous as the make-believe people he played on TV. His parents were working people who moved from Newfoundland, so Chuck learned to really value being a hard worker, being a good friend, and never giving up. These good traits were a part of his real self and the famous characters he played. When he was a little guy, he was already super talented at sports and had a powerful way of being that made him stand out in the busy places of Brooklyn. These first few years made him really competitive and helped him learn how to be focused, which later helped him be successful in two very tough jobs before he ever showed up on camera. Way before Hollywood made him a big star, Chuck Connors had already done something very unusual and special. He became a professional player in two of America's biggest sports, baseball and basketball. Connors played for the Boston Celtics in the first years of the Basketball Association of America League, and everyone was amazed by how big, strong, and naturally athletic he was. Later, he switched to baseball, signing with the Brooklyn Dodgers and then the Chicago Cubs, where people thought he was a reliable first baseman. Even though he wasn't a mega superstar in professional sports, his focus on being a great athlete helped him get a reputation as a man with lots of toughness and drive. These experiences also made him physically confident and gave him that big stage presence, which later made him perfect for roles that needed a tough, quick, and powerful-looking person. He started acting almost by accident. While playing minor league baseball, people noticed that Connors was very charming and had a strong voice. Soon, he started getting asked to do small parts in movies and on television. Hollywood quickly saw something special about him, a realness that no one could teach or pretend to have. Connors seemed like a true American cowboy, and people really loved that because he brought the same never-give-up attitude and clear sense of right and wrong that he had in his sports career. These great qualities led him to his most famous role, Lucas McCain, in the super-popular TV show The Rifleman, which ran from 1958 to 1963. As Lucas McCain, Chuck Connors became famous all over the world. He played a rancher who lost his wife and was raising his young son, Mark, with a mix of strong rules, kindness, and being super brave about what was right, turning The Rifleman into one of the most loved cowboy shows on TV. Connors showed the characters deeper feelings, showing that even tough guys have soft spots, and making the role of a father feel very real to millions of viewers. His amazing skill with the special rifle, shooting super fast in the show's famous opening scene, became his TV signature move and helped make him one of the greatest Western stars ever. Fans loved not only his heroic look, but also the warm and human feeling he brought to every single show. After The Rifleman, Connors kept having a long and successful acting career, appearing in movies like Old Yeller, Geronimo, Move Over, Darling, and Soylent Green. His tall body and commanding voice made him a natural fit for strong, rugged roles. But he also surprised people by being able to play many different kinds of parts, from good guys to bad guys. Whether he was a cowboy, a police chief, a soldier, or a dad on the frontier, Connors always seemed real, which made him different from many other actors back then. Directors said great things about how professional and dedicated he was, while his co-stars often described him as friendly, giving, and very respectful on the movie set. Outside of acting, Chuck Connors was known for caring a lot about his family, having close friends, and always being loyal to the people he loved. People admired him not just for his talent, but also for his kindness and honesty. Connors often took time to chat with fans, sign pictures, and visit hospitals for kids, never forgetting the people who supported his job. His deep thankfulness to his audience and his humble personality helped him build a lasting connection that stayed strong long after he was at the peak of his TV fame. Chuck Connors' private life included 3 big marriages, each one happening during a different time in his changing job in sports and show business. His first wife was Elizabeth Jane Riddell, a woman he met in a place that made sense for his life back then, on the baseball field. Connors, who was still becoming an actor after being an athlete, met Elizabeth at one of his games, and they quickly had a strong, lasting relationship. The couple got married on October 1st, 1948, at a time when Connors was still figuring out his life as a pro athlete, and long before he was a household name in TV and movies. Together they had 4 sons, and for almost 20 years this first marriage was the strong base of Connors' family life, keeping him grounded even as his job started its big switch from sports to Hollywood stardom. Their life as a growing family happened at the same time as Connors started acting, and for many years, Elizabeth gave him stability during the uncertain early parts of his entertainment career. Even though the marriage eventually finished, the 4 boys they raised were always a great source of pride for Connors throughout his life. Connors' second marriage came straight from his work in Hollywood. In 1963, he married Indian-born actress Kamala Devi, a movie partner he had met while they were both starring in the 1962 movie Geronimo. They had great chemistry on screen. She played the person he loved in the movie, and that feeling moved into real life. Kamala Devi became more than just a girlfriend. She was also someone he worked with often as Connors' acting career reached new and constant levels of fame. She joined him in many jobs, including shows of his popular series Branded, the 1968 TV movie Broken Saber, and the action-focused TV series Cowboy in Africa, in which they both appeared as important cast members. Their marriage represented a super busy and exciting time in Connors' life, one full of travel all over the world, super strict filming schedules, and lots of public appearances. But even with their shared creative work and the cool mix of cultures they brought to each other's lives, their marriage ended in 1973, 10 years after it started. The split marked the end of a chapter that was very much connected to Connors' busiest and most visible years as a television star. Connors started his third marriage after meeting his future wife through his job again. While filming the futuristic science fiction movie Soylent Green in 1973, a movie that would later become a classic favorite, Connors got to know actress Faith Quabius, who played the part of Martha. Their friendship slowly turned into a romantic relationship over the next few years, and by the time Connors married Faith in 1977, he was already a well-respected TV star. However, their marriage was pretty short. Despite their shared work on movie sets and Connors' appreciation for her artistic personality, the relationship only lasted 2 years. The couple divorced in 1979, ending Connors' third and final marriage. Even though it was brief, his marriage to Faith showed a later time in Connors' life, one where he was older, thoughtful, and aware of the tough job demands he had been dealing with for many years. For a long time, fans of The Rifleman wondered what Chuck Connors truly thought about his young co-star, Johnny Crawford, the boy who played Mark McCain and helped make the Western show one of TV's most loved father-son stories. Connors hardly ever talked in public about his personal relationships, especially with the people he worked with, choosing instead to let the work speak for itself. But in his later years, he finally broke that long silence, opening up with surprising feeling and clear thoughts about the special connection that shaped both of their careers. Connors started by saying he always felt that young Johnny was special from the very first time they read lines together. There was a gentleness in Johnny, Connors said, a sweetness and sincerity that you couldn't teach. You either have that kind of heart when you're born or you don't, and Johnny had it in every part of his being. Connors explained that he immediately saw Crawford's natural ability to show feeling, loyalty, and strength. All of these were key qualities for the character of Mark McCain. He shared that as they kept filming, their friendship outside of the show grew into something much deeper than a regular Hollywood pair. I wasn't just acting like his father on television, Connors admitted. In many ways, I felt responsible for him. I wanted to protect him, guide him, make sure he felt safe in a tough industry. He became part of my life in a way I didn't expect. Connors remembered lots of times on set where Crawford would ask him for advice, not just about the script or scenes, but about life, being honest, and growing up under the famous spotlight. As the series got more famous, Connors watched Johnny change from a quiet, talented boy into a confident young actor who handled huge pressure with amazing maturity. I was proud of him every single day, he said. People don't realize how hard it is for a kid to work those hours, remember lines, deal with adults all the time. But Johnny never complained. He brought joy to the set. He made all of us better. Connors also admitted that sometimes the strong emotional feeling of their father-son scenes on TV felt just as real behind the scenes. Their connection, he said, was built not on fame but on respect and love for each other. Even after The Rifleman ended, Connors quietly kept up with Crawford's life and career. He rarely talked about it in public, but he felt a deep admiration for the man Johnny became. When thinking back on their time together, Connors made his feelings completely clear. Johnny was more than a co-star, he said softly. He was family. If I had been lucky enough to have a son exactly like him in real life, I would have considered myself blessed. I loved that boy, and I was honored to be part of his life. By finally speaking out, Chuck Connors gave fans a rare peek into the warmth and loyalty that made one of television's most lasting friendships. His words are a heartfelt tribute to Johnny Crawford, a young actor who touched millions and left a permanent mark on the man who helped lead him through the first years of his extraordinary life. Chuck Connors, the very tall and powerful figure of television and film, whose job lasted for many years and whose face you instantly knew on screen, passed away on November 10th, 1992, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. His death was caused by lung cancer, a sickness that had quietly but strongly gotten worse over time, finally taking the life of a man whose energy, strength, and commanding personality had been his public image for so long. Connors, who was famously 6'5" tall, and who had done a great job as a professional athlete in both basketball and baseball before fully focusing on acting, faced the last part of his life far from the sets of The Rifleman, and the studios where he had made his mark on Hollywood history. The news of his death made fans across the country feel very sad, especially those who had grown up watching him play the serious but good-hearted Lucas McCain, a character whose bravery and honesty became a symbol of TV heroes in the middle of the last century. Connor's struggle with lung cancer also served as a clear reminder that even the strongest and most seemingly unbeatable people can have health problems. While he had lived a life full of success in sports, acting, and his personal life, his death at the age of 71 showed how illness can affect anyone. Friends, co-workers, and fans all thought about the loss of a man whose charm and professional manner left a lasting mark not just on the screen, but on the hearts of those who were lucky enough to know him personally. News channels at the time reported a lot about his passing, pointing out all the things he had done for television, film, and sports, and often stressing how sad it was to lose such a loved person who had brought both excitement and inspiration to millions. After his death, Chuck Connors was laid to rest at San Fernando Mission Cemetery, a calm and historic burial place located in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. This cemetery, known for its peaceful grounds and its importance to the local Catholic community, became the final resting spot for a man whose life had been anything but quiet or ordinary. The choice of San Fernando Mission Cemetery shows not only a connection to the area that was key to much of his career, but also a place where fans and people who admired him could say goodbye, visiting the gravesite to honor the memory of someone who had a lasting impact on American culture. The cemetery itself, with its neat paths, tall trees, and quiet areas, offers a setting that encourages remembering and reflecting, allowing those who visit to think about the full scope of Connor's life, from his early days as an athlete to his lasting career in Hollywood and beyond.